yeah, in this experience, I was just in an all black space. There was nothing around me. The focus was just kind of nothing. I was just kind of looking off into the blank space. It's nothing but this blackness all around me, and I'm just sitting on the ground, or at least what I can perceive as like the ground. And I'm sitting there, and I'm sitting like crisscross applesauce, and um all of a sudden I'm in this bedroom. It's like it just comes in. You ever seen that movie Lucy, when she's kind of traveling between the rooms and they're just kind of just flying by her? It's kind of like that. All of a sudden I'm in this room, and it doesn't shock me. I'm more so just into the scenery. I'm kind of looking at what's going on, and I see I'm even kind of jittering right now because I think the people in the experience know I'm going to share it. So, but anyways, when I was sitting in the room, all of a sudden I'm in this room, so I'm sitting on the floor. In front of me, I see this man, this taller man. He's really big in the shoulders. I mean, he's a really kind of a built man, you might say. Well, I recognize him. I know who he is in the personal sense. I just really kind of know of him. I guess you might actually not even say that I know him, but I know of him. And I knew that in the personal physical sense, that there was a relationship there with one of my cousins. One of my cousins was in a relationship with this man. Well, he kind of looked at me, and when he was looking at me, he really looked unimpressed. He really had this kind of face like, oh, kind of like, whatever, kind of really just kind of unimpressed, didn't really care too much, and he walked off. And he walked off after seeing me. Well, after he walked away, this child came running up from the left-hand side. And my impression was, or at least the impression that I received, was that this was either one of my little cousins or one of his children. Because again, he has children, and so does my cousin. So again, if they were dating, he would have been around them. And when the little child came running up to me again, who I could see was either his child or one of my cousin's children, I didn't quite see the face. I got this impression that there was some sort of either kind of like abuse, maybe like a physical violence or something like that. Because again, they're not dating anymore. And of course, I don't ask why or how come. It's none of my business. But I was aware of that. And so anyways, this child comes running up to me. And so I'm sitting on the floor. When it comes running up to me, it clings to me. This child clings to me and just throws its head into my chest, and it's looking straight down, and I could perceive that there was all this trauma inside of this child, all of this sadness, all of this, just all this baggage. And for a child, they never really, they can go through that. Of course, I'm sure we all went through that in our own way, but they're not like equipped to deal with it. They're still into really being like children. We don't really have the awareness to see what's going on, or why and how come, or even to relate that maybe it has nothing to do with them, really, just the actions of others. Well, anyways, after the child throws their head into my chest and I see all this stuff, I remember I kind of think to myself, and I almost say it out loud, that I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do for this child. I can't really interfere too much, or like, that's kind of my idea. So I really didn't know what to do. I mean, do I stand up and just kind of tell them, figure it out? Or like, I was going through all these scenarios. And so I said, you know what? I'm not going to do anything. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to let the is kind of be. I'm just going to just be with the experience. And so I put my focus on the all-isness, and I even made this little kind of like affirmation, or like I even kind of said it out loud, that said, whatever the is wills it to be, let it be so, kind of thing like that. And so I just centered in that, and I just centered in that within my being, within my awareness. And I could see that in this position where, again, I'm centering in my true self and the isness, and that whatever needs to come of this experience, just let it be, instead of kind of deciding with my free will, going this way, going that way, and battling kind of in myself also, like what's right and wrong kind of thing, just letting it be. all of a sudden, I could see all of that depression, all of that everything, lifted out of the child. And when it lifted out of the child, it went into me. I soaked it up like a sponge. And I'm laughing because when I woke up, I was laughing physically because I was like, well, that's not what it's not what I expected. It's not what I wanted type of thing. And I even kind of thought that to myself in the experience when all that baggage, all that kind of muck lifted out of the child and into myself. And again, this is after I center myself and have this intent to let it be what it's going to be, in the name of the isness, you might say, whatever the is wills, you might say. And, I remember I even I kind of thought, I was like, well, geez, that's not really what I meant, but all right. I mean, if this is what it's going to be, this is what it's going to be. I was kind of thinking like, man, I didn't mean to absorb all that stuff. And I was like, all right, well, whatever. I didn't really try fighting it either. I didn't really try arguing or fighting or like whatever. I just kind of was like, well, whatever, But I was a little shocked. I remember I was a little shocked. And all of a sudden, Rebazar came up from my right-hand side, and he helped me to see. He really opened up my awareness that with my awareness, I can handle this more so than the child. That's why it was given to me, this burden. Because again, just for a little reference, last year around the October month, again, I'm kind of getting the jitters sharing this, but something doesn't want me to really say this, but around last year around the October month, I remember I started feeling, not really feeling, but I started seeing all these little signs or these little things about depression, and even just without that idea, just take that idea away, I started struggling a lot more. There was a lot more struggle. And I was like, okay, this is fine. We all struggle. I try to look at it like a learning lesson, like an endurance kind of builder, And at times it would get really, really hard, really, really dismal, and I'd feel very discouraged. And I could see that it wasn't coming from myself. That much I could see. I just didn't know what the cause of it was. What was the true cause? And I would try to sing the NUUU and see what was going on. It would get to the so much so that I'd even forget to sing the NUUU. I'd just forget. I wouldn't have the energy. I would just kind of, just be in that kind of state. And then I'd bounce out of it, and then I'd go right back in, and it was just this back and forth. It was like a game almost. Well, come to find out, again, it's from this child. I had finally seen, again, it's from this child that I was given this burden, kind of set up for me like a learning lesson by life, by the Golden Guides. They kind of allowed me, more so to really see kind of how I would handle it. Can I handle it? Kind of is another question. And so, yeah, that was the experience. Again, Rebazar kind of came and he showed me, this was given to you, this burden from this child, because again, the child doesn't really know what to do with it. He can't, again, doesn't have the awareness to deal with it. And I could see that with my real awareness, it's something like wearing a raincoat. At least that was the reference that was used. It's like, imagine all that baggage and all that trauma and drama and all this stuff that happens. It's like rain on a raincoat. It's the rain coming down, but with your real awareness, you have that little raincoat. You have a little buffer, and I could see that again, with my real awareness, I could shed the burden a lot quicker than the child can. Maybe the child would grow up its whole life not knowing why and how come, and having all these questions and being really confused. But again, with the real awareness, you can come to this point where it just kind of slides off like water. Now, in the personal sense, it didn't really feel like it was sliding off like water. But with my real awareness, it really indeed was happening in an accelerated manner. Because even now, I'm truly coming out of that. And I've seen that in numerous ways. And again, having this experience is like a little confirmation. So I just wanted to share that sometimes when we're going through these funny things or funny challenges, sometimes we're even taking on something from other people. Now, that's a choice too. I didn't have to do that, but that was just my personal experience. And so I thought it was also a good kind of learning lesson. Again, it's kind of like a training thing, an endurance builder. So just wanted to share that with everybody. If anyone has comments, or Duane, you want to say something?
Yes, of course. And that's just part of the challenge of stepping up and taking the risk. And I remember a cute little story when Paul was on stage one time, and he gets these letters. He was getting these letters from people. People would write in, and one, as an example, one person had a kidney problem, and as Paul was on stage talking, one of his lectures, he commented that on that, and he said, "Well, you had it, now I got it." And so it's that simple. That's part of the challenge. Certain things we take on, and I remember when I first stepped into the rod of power, that the boys showed up at my house on the real side, and they brought a bunch of lumber and pieces and whatever and dumped them on my lawn, and then they just kind of looked at me and smiled. And this was the karma from others. In other words, taking on the responsibility. So it's just like in the workplace where we somebody doesn't like to hear this. So it's just like in the workplace, where as you go through the steps of becoming making more money or another position or something like that, you take on that responsibility. And this is why most people don't want to step up to what we're doing, because it's far too real. And yeah, you're going to step right into it. And it's kind of like playing a video game, or one of those war video games, opposed to going out into the battlefield and trying to get through the minefield in the physical sense. Yeah, there's a difference there. So they'd rather stay home and play video games and pretend that, oh, they're killing the bad guys and whatever, etc. So these are the so-called passive paths. So we're the ones stepping up, those that decide to just let it all out. And it's shown on the real side where you're naked many times. You're exposing yourself, totally exposing yourself to the world. They see you. They see what we're doing. And very few people will do this because they don't want to be bothered. But how is it that you can be, beyond wonderful unless you do that? So again, everybody makes their choices. And it's like the experience that Mary shared here. There's different portals. And the real guides are there for those people, but everybody chooses their position. Who wants to stand real with the real guides, or who wants to just be kind of, taken care of and read the books and do the NUUU and just live their little personal life. So again, that's where the turtle comes in. That turtle aspect, not so much symbolic, but that they're going to, take it a lot slower. But again, the world is, it's not getting better. And anything can happen any moment, just like Pierce's experience. There it is. There's the hints all right there. And they mean business to destroy everyone. And when you forget, and just like you're saying, Jeremy, you get a little bit disarranged or confused and you forget to do the NUUU. Well, a lot of these people, they come to this and then they take a little knowledge, they go home, maybe they'll do the NUUU once in a while, but they'll forget. And they'll get little reminders here and there, but are they paying attention? But again, it becomes your whole life. Until it becomes that, what are you? You're just a personal person. So all these things do add up, but you are, as you step up, you're taking it on also, not only as a lesson for you, but helping others. And yeah, what can you do? Well, the child just needs a hug and etc. It doesn't understand. So you help it along like a parent, etc. So you're somebody else. So yes, we all go through this because we have this personal self, so that we can learn to center, and we have that better understanding as we come to the Skypes, etc. And most people don't. They come usually now and then, and they have questions because for the most part, they're not paying attention. But as they get into it, just like a job, then they understand what's going on, and then they know how to do their job. They know how to take on the challenge, etc. So I would say it's very important to, because we're here, and this is exceptional, because who else has the understanding that we do? Who else has the awareness? Most people are, they're focused on hocus pocus, all these little magical things, and all these little systems that have been created, and their spiritual religious stuff, and all these little gimmicks and whatever. Yeah, you don't need any of that. It's all about awareness. Yes, thank you.